Hey guys, welcome back to the SRU Campus Rec YouTube channel. My name is Alex. So for this week's session, what we're going to be doing is a full body flexibility workout. So to start off with, we're going to be doing a bit of a dynamic warm-up. For all these exercises, we're going to be doing them for 10 reps, either total or per each side. So the first one we have right here is just a chest fly. So in this case, pulling my arms back, pulling the shoulder blades together, and then just coming back out across the body, getting a slight stretch on the chest. So next thing what we're going to do is we're going to then be doing arm circles. So for these, I'm more or less focusing first off, kind of pressing my arms into the shoulder socket first off, which you might notice via the smaller arm circles overall, and then I'm slowly increasing the size of them to generally increase the range of motion for the arm circles. So moving on from there, we're then going to go into rear delt flies, bend over. So this case is very similar to chest flies, except in this case, trying to focus more on engaging the rear delts and back, and again focusing on pulling the shoulder blades together, getting a slight squeeze with each fly that we're doing. So from there then, we're then going to move into variation on toe touch. So in this case, I'm just reaching across my body, reaching, in this case, right arm to left leg, and then returning back to that standing position. This will help with not only warming up a bit of the hips and hamstrings, but you're also going to be helping with getting some mobility into that back as we're coming across the body to touch the toes. So for ones such as these, I'm doing just 5 reps each side, and yeah, moving on from there then, we're then going to be doing Frankensteins. So in this case again, I'm trying to keep my leg as straight as I can as I'm kicking it up, flexing at the hips, and trying to see if I can touch my toe to my hand. So again, with this one, it's just 5 reps each leg, and then we'll move on from there to frog walk-ins. Alright, to finish the dynamic warm-up, as I said, we're then going to go into frog walk-ins. So for these ones, again, I'm going to start off in this plank position, and then I'm going to bring my same leg up to my same arm. So in this case, it's left leg up to left arm and vice versa. And with these, I'm trying to get my foot to be about the at the same position as my hand is in terms of depth. But going from there though, we're then going to go into static stretching. Alright, so for the first static stretch, we're just going to be doing a palm facing the wall variation on the wall chest stretch. So for this one's, again, I'm just kind of pressing my hand and also my elbow into the wall, and then I'm going to be pushing my weight forward, and I'll definitely feel this right along the outer chest and even a bit into the shoulders as well. So with all these static stretches, as we normally do, so we're going to be doing 30 seconds, either total or for each side, and again, we're taking these all to the point of mild discomfort, not pain. So along with this, then, we want to be focusing on breathing, making sure to do slow, about 4-second inhale through the nose, and then about a slow exhale through the mouth for about 4 to 5 seconds. This will help with not only kind of relaxing yourself, but also to possibly allow yourself to get a bit further into the stretch. So, moving on from there then, we're now just doing a behind the back variation of the chest stretch. So as you can see, I have my hands clasped back behind my body. Make sure when you're doing this, you have your elbows actually more of in a locked out position, because you don't want that bend in the elbows, or else you'll start to flex more at the chest, and we want to try and avoid that. So moving on from there though, we're then going to do just a fingertip touch. This will help with stretching out the shoulders and getting some flexibility and mobility to the joint. And in doing so, as you see, I'm just kind of reaching back behind my body with my left hand, which is going to be the underhand, and then my right hand is reaching over top of the shoulder, and then trying to just see if I can touch the fingers. So now I'm going to be switching sides. Again, for all these, it's 30 seconds. And if you need to, you can go a bit longer, up to about 60 seconds if you need. And going further past that, over time, if you're doing this for multiple sessions, and you're constantly going for longer and longer durations, you might need to watch out for possibly overstretching the muscles, which can cause muscle sprains, which can be very painful to have to deal with. So next thing I have then is a towel pull. However, in this case, I'm just using a band I have. But if you have a towel or a band, just make sure you wrap that around your hand. In this case, I'm doing it where my top arm is more in a passive stretch, and the bottom arm is the one that's actually kind of pulling down on the band to get that stretch on the upper arm. So. Now moving on to the opposite arm then, we just switched. Again, just doing the same thing, where in this case, the upper arm, or in this case my left arm, is more in a passive position, where it's just kind of letting the band guide the arm down into the stretch, while the lower arm, in this case the right arm, is acting more as the driver of the stretch, to kind of help with stretching out that upper tricep. So, moving on from there then, we're actually going to go into a upper trap stretch. So this will help with not only stretching out a bit of the upper traps, but also help with stretching out of the neck as well. So in this case, I'm grabbing the left side of my head with my right arm, and then I'm just slowly pulling it to the right side of my body, making sure when we're doing this though that we're not trying to overly put force on the neck to stretch it out. It's more of a kind of a gentle pull to a point of you kind of start to feel a stretch right in the neck. So again, for all these, it's 30 seconds, especially for this one, is trying to be more careful with how you're administering the stretch, so that we possibly don't have some tightness in the neck afterwards. So next thing then, we're going to be moving into a crossbody shoulder stretch. So again, now moving into the shoulders, we're going to be going into a bit of the rear delts, but also more of a general overall shoulder stretch. In this case, I have my forward arm more or less actually pressing that crossed arm into the body, and because it's kind of locked back behind the elbow, it's actually slowly being pulled across the body. Now, you'll definitely feel this a lot more in the rear delts as well, and if that's a tighter spot, you can definitely hold this one for a bit longer if you need to. So, adding in a bit of a new stretch. This week we're going to be just doing a simple wall calf stretch. So in this case I have my foot in about a 45-degree angle against the wall. I'm kind of pressing down my weight into at least the ball of my foot, and then I'm slowly kind of pressing, kind of actually more or less pushing my weight forwards, which you'll definitely feel. I'm going to stretch out the calf muscle. So now here it's just switching legs and doing the same thing, especially with this one. It's making sure that your foot is definitely in that 45-degree angle, or about 45-degree angle. Will definitely help you getting a much more effective stretch. You'll definitely feel it a lot more, and you won't have to push yourself as close into a wall or anything you might be using to kind of support yourself as you would if the foot was at a lower angle. Alright, so from there then we're then just going into a simple toe touch, and this will help with stretching out the hamstrings. So in this case, what I'm not demonstrating that well is, if you can, just try to keep your legs straight as you can, and then I'm just kind of slowly flexing at the hips, trying to see if I can get my fingertips to touch my toes. With this one, it's definitely, you don't want to kind of be forcing your arms to press down to your toes. It's more of a passive kind of letting gravity do a lot of the work. So moving on from there then, we're then going to be doing a forward lunge with elevated opposite arm. This will help not only stretching out the quad, but it'll also help with stretching out the hip flexors as well. So in this case, I'm just down a nice forward lunge, kind of pressing my weight forwards, and then with my opposite arm elevated, it's kind of just following with the stretch and making sure when I'm doing this that I'm having a neutral back. You don't want to be kind of overly flexed or overly extended at the back, because you're not going to be having as an effective as a stretch. So again, just switching legs. For all these, as I said earlier, we're doing it for 30 seconds. If it's a bilateral, or doing it as both joints together, both body parts together, or more of a unilateral stretch where it's each side being stretched independently. Alright, so moving on from there then, we're actually going to go into a pigeon stretch. So as you can see here, I have my right leg in about a 90-degree angle out in front of my body. I then have my left leg fully extended back behind me, and I'm kind of using my arms first off to just generally support my body in the stretch. And then over time, as I feel I can get a bit deeper into the stretch, I'm going to start walking out. I know this might be a difficult stretch to start off with. If you need to, you can kind of, as you can see here, with my opposite leg, if your leg is more of in an elevated position and not fully resting against the ground, that is fine. Again, as long as you kind of feel it stretching out those hip flexors and even the glutes, or sorry, right into the hips and glutes as well. That's what we're looking for. And then over time, then you can slowly go into working more and more into the depth of that stretch. Alright, so the next lower body stretch that we're going to do is just a side lying quad stretch. So kind of with any quad stretch that I've demonstrated so far, we're just trying to pull our heel up to our butt. However, in this case, I'm just doing it lying on my side. This can definitely be more effective if you might have trouble supporting yourself on one leg if you're trying to do a standing quad stretch, or maybe you're just not feeling a very effective stretch trying to do it laying down, or some other variation of quad stretch like that. So, and with all these, I'm trying to get for 30 seconds, especially on this side, if you can. It's making sure that the leg is kind of closer into the bottom leg, and so I'm just kind of resting on that leg. You'll definitely have a better stretch, because you want to try and avoid being in this more flexed position at the torso as I currently am. So moving on from there, then we're going to go into a hamstring pull stretch. So from here, I'm just grabbing under my knee, if not slightly below it, and then I'm just trying to keep the leg as straight as I can, and slowly pull that towards my chest. As I said with this, you want to try and keep the leg as straight as you can, but if you can't, it's keep the leg to the point where you're still pulling on it, and there's still a stretch going on in the hamstring, but it's not obviously painful or too overwhelming for you to hold for the time. Alright, so moving into our second to last stretch of the session, we're then going to be doing a puppy pose. That's very similar to a child's pose. However, in this case, instead of having our arms directly in front of us, it's more in a Y position. Again, we're still trying to sit back into our heels as we're doing this. But again, it's along with that, it's kind of trying to fully extend out the arms to not only stretch out the low back, but also stretch out the lats, and also a bit into the rear delt as well, even into the hips, as you would with any of the child poses or anything that I've shown prior. So to finish up then for the session, we're then going to go into a prone twist. So just generally help with getting a stretch on the back. More specifically, you'll definitely feel this in like your rear delts and your lats, but you also feel it a bit into the spinal region as well. If you need also to generally work on a bit of spinal mobility, this is definitely very effective with that. Just making sure that once you're kind of in this twisted position, that you're not then trying to bring up your opposite leg off the ground if you can. So you want to kind of keep that one against the ground as much as you can. Rather than once you're kind of up on your arm, you just kind of just want to let gravity and your own body weight kind of slowly pull you down into the stretch. So I'd like to thank everyone for watching. If you have any comments or any suggestions for future sessions, let me know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks again. We'll see you soon. And don't forget to check out the other people's videos as well on the channel.